Hi everybody, it's Dr. J again, and this is the second demo of ArrayLists. Hey, before I do it, I want to just show you, if you ever get bored of me or you want to look for more, if you just Google ArrayList Java example, something like that, you can go to any of the sites that come up and you'll see how you can do, there's all these demos. Everybody in computer science likes to share what they know, so there's tons of things that you can find out there. Just make sure you use something like example or tutorial whenever you do the search. That way it'll come up a little bit more. Okay, all right, well, let's get started. Today, this lesson, I thought I'd make a different kind of an array list, an array list of strings this time. So watch this. I'm going to make a list of names. Okay, so we in order to make the name list, we type in the word array list, and then this is the data type. This tells you what kind of data that we're going to be doing, and we're going to do strings. So I'm going to call it names. And then you say new array list, and then you have to repeat this whole thing. This is actually called the constructor for the object if you're interested. You'll learn all about that next year in AP. So I'm going to do that import, and now we have that list of names. Now out of the gate, what I'm going to do is just print the names, because I want to show you that in the last one, you remember the brackets? The brackets were like what everything was enclosed in, and so here is how we can do the brackets. Now this is kind of a cheesy way to just display like what's inside there, and so I'm going to be showing you how to print the names a little bit nicer later on. Okay, so now I'm going to add to the names. So I'm going to do the add again. You can see how it says add, and then it knows that it's supposed to be a string. So you can add a string here. So let's add Joe to my list. Okay, and then I'm going to add let's add Abby, and then add let's use Tyler. And let's add one more. Let's do Winchester. I don't know why, but they just thought of that name. So there it is. Okay. Now, just so you know, watch this. If I say names.add and then I try to add the number like 100, it's like, what the heck are you doing? You can't do that. That's not a number, or that's not a name. So we have that. But of course, I could fake it out, and I could put this in quotes, and then it would add it, and it would know that it's 100. It's like the word 100, but that'd be kind of dumb, so I'm not going to do that. Okay, so let's print out the names. And so now when I print this, bada bing, bada boom, there they are. And remember that size thing? I'm going to do system.out.println and then names.size. And when I print that, that should say 4 because there's 4 items in the list. Notice they don't have the quotation marks here. Okay, now the next thing I want you to observe here is that when you add things to the list, it actually does what's called appending. Okay, so to append means to add to the end of the list. So Joe was like the first person in the list, but then when I added Abby, Abby went after Joe. And then Tyler went after Abby. And that's called appending. And when so you do a basic add, that's what that does. Okay? So just know that. I'm going to show you a secret. I'm going to go to names, and I'm going to do an add. But now I want you to look closely here. There's actually 2 different add methods. Okay, what I'm going to do is click on this second one, and I'm going to read this thing over here. It says inserts the specified element at the specified position in the list. Shifts the element currently at that position, if any, and any other subsequent elements to the right. That is, it adds ones to the index. So I'm going to click on this one, and I'm just going to put in a 1 here, and I'm going to put Sam here. Okay, so your question is, where does Sam go when I added Sam to the list of names? That's the question. Okay, and so the answer is these are indexed, and Java is what's called a zero-indexed language, which means that whenever you have a list, it always starts at 0. So this has like address of 0, then 1, then 2, then 3. So what it says is it's going to take Sam, and it's going to go to where the 1 was, and it's going to insert it into 1, and then Abby, Tyler, and Winchester all get slid over. It's like Sam just cut in line at the lunch line. So let's do that. And there it is. So Sam got inserted into that position. Okay? And that's how there's 2 different ways to add now. Okay? So, and you can use these in there's different reasons why you would want to have add at different places. Okay, so that is the 2 different add methods. Now I'm going to show you the get method. So the get method is just like how would I print an individual one? So if I want to access a specific element, like a specific name in the list, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a get. Okay, so names.get, and you can see up here it's a method call, and it's going to ask for the index. So again, if you read this thing over here, this is like really super powerful to just read this thing. Returns the element at the specified position in the list. So if I type in, say, a 1 right here, what it does is it goes to the list that's in the memory. It goes and finds the one that's in section 1, the slot 1, and I like to think of it as it's like taking a picture of it, and then it's returning that picture, because it doesn't actually, you can't change this using the get. You're just like copying what's there, and it's printing whatever's in there. So when I run this, it's going to say Sam, because that's the one that's in that slot. Okay, so if I say 3, okay, let's think about it. 0, 1, 2, 3. This one should print Tyler, and there it is. Okay. Now, what do you think I'm going to do here if I put like a 77? Okay. Notice it doesn't give me an error here, but when I run it, it gives me this out of bounds exception. So index out of bounds, and the index that caused the trouble is a 77, and it's telling me that the size of this thing was 5, meaning that there's 5 elements in the list. And it's like, what are you doing to me, man? You're trying to get 77, and that's just not possible. Okay? So anyway, and of course you can't use like negative numbers, because that's out of bounds as well. So the lowest number you can do is 0, and the highest you can do is actually the size of a list minus 1. So that is the deal. Okay, so why would this be like, what is good about this? Well, glad you asked. I'm going to print the names in the list, and I want to print it kind of pretty rather than like this, just like, it's like just throwing it at you right here in this list. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a for loop. Okay, so this is a nice little review of the for loop. I'm going to create a loop that starts at 0, and it goes up to the number, to the size of the list, and then I'm going to print each of the names that are in the list. So here we go. So I'm going to create a variable called I, set it equal to 0. That's actually called my loop control variable. And then the if statement that it checks each time is whether or not I is less than the size of the list. Okay, that's going to allow me to go up to and include the last name in the list. And then the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to increment I by 1. So with this, I can say print. I can do system.out.println, and then I can say names.get. Okay, and I'm just going to press enter here. And what I'm going to do is I can have it print I, not print I, but I can have it print names.get I. And what that's going to do is it's going to print out each of the names that are in the list, starting by getting the first one, which is at index 0, and then at 1 and 2 and so on. So watch what happens when I run it. Bam, there it is. I should put a little thing in front of here. So let me do a little of that. So, ooh, what is that? So bam, little thing like that. And here we go. So those are my 4 names in my list using a for loop that I have printed out here. Okay. Now this can be, you can kind of fancy this up. Watch if I do I plus and then maybe a period and a space and a plus. This seems like it's going to do the right thing, but watch what happens when I run it. Ooh, so the 0 is the index for Joe and 1 is for Sam and so on. So like most normal people in this world wouldn't start with 0, so we should try to be normal. So I'm going to print I plus 1. This is kind of funny. Watch what happens. And so it adds 1 to it. I technically prefer to make this I plus 1 like this. So it adds it because in some scenarios it might print the I and then the 1 right after it. Anyway, so this is how I can make a list where I'm printing out each of the I values, and then here I'm actually getting the I value there. Okay, so that's good there. So let me do do one other terrible thing, and that is I'm going to do a names dot clear. Okay, see this clear method? Look at this says. It says it removes all of the elements from the list. The list will be empty after this call returns. So I'm going to say clear, and that's that. Terrible thing I did there. And then now I'm actually going to copy and paste this. So I'm going to print the list. I'm printing it. This is kind of the before, and then this is the clear, and then this is the after. So watch what happens. And bam, it doesn't print anything right here, which that didn't really go like that wasn't obvious. Watch this. If I do a print line of names, it's going to show me the brackets with nothing in it. Okay. So anyway, so bunch of things here. The add method, the add where you can insert it at any spot. The get method just kind of retrieves the value, makes like a picture of it, copy of it, and then it prints it, and then you can do whatever you want to with it. Normally you print it, but you can do a lot of other things, and then you can clear. Okay. All right, before I go on here, I want to show you, if you want to do a lot more exploring, if you do names dot, and then you just kind of like poke through this thing, you can see there's all these different things that you can do with it. And we're going to explore a bunch of those more. We're going to explore some more in a future lesson. So I'm going to stop this one. Okay, bye-bye.